Fire rate.
Bombing.
Protective reaction.
Juvenile delinquency. Disturbed adolescent.
Rock star.
Senator Hubert Humphrey. Vice President Hubert Humphrey.
Senator Hubert Humphrey.
The Yellow Peril. The Red Chinese.
The peace-loving citizens of the People's Republic of China.
Peace is at hand. Peace is at hand.
Peace is at hand.
That was the year that was. Good riddance and amen. Let only good be said. 'Cause if you knock the dead, they might come back again. That was the year that was. Nixon would not debate. So on November 8th, he proved it doesn't pay to be a candidate.
During the campaign, I made a promise. And now I'm going to give you exactly what I promised during the campaign. 4 more years.
Farewell to Ludo lights. Now that they're commonplace, phase 3 will face the moon. Out in the Nixon budget, there's no room for space.
How do you like that? They can send a man to the moon, they can't make a cigarette lighter that works.
Oh, by the way, Jenkins, they've canceled your moon flight. The space program is over.
How do you like that? They can make a cigarette lighter that works, but they can't send a man to the moon.
The Nixon plan for civil rights gave equal opportunity to whites and whites.
It took us 20 years to get to the front of the bus. Now it won't take us to school.
Collecting those big hurrahs. Oh, that was the year that was.
That was the year that was, starring Jack Burns and Avery Schreiber. Also starring George Irving, Terry O'Mara, with Kelly Garrett, Bob McFadden, Mark Russell, Adam Wade, with special guest star Dick Gautier, and very special appearances by William Buckley, F. Lee Bailey, and David Ross.
No big hurrah. Oh, that was the year that was. That was the year that was. And somehow we came through it. Most of us still are here. So let's give a rousing cheer. It no longer is the year that
This is no ordinary bath. It's a whole tub full of treatment. Sorrel bath oil concentrate for dry skin. Sorrel's exclusive lipodermic formula bathes away dryness and flakiness. Helps restore moisture your skin loses each day. And then holds in this moisture to keep your skin feeling young. Sorrel bath oil concentrate. It's a whole tub full of treatment.
If I could make the perfect lipstick, I wouldn't make it solid. I'd make the color so rich and moist and lustrous that it would have to flow on through a brush. Then I'd just shape and color my lips like I never could before. And then I'd have lips like this. Color brush flowing lipstick. I'm so glad Cody thought of it.
ABC's Wide World of Entertainment, the most exciting new idea in late-night television. A refreshing change of shows every week. ABC's Wide World of Entertainment.
Jack Parr's new show, Jack Parr Tonight, premieres Monday. If you get boiling mad at the cost of food these days, look here. You can bubble some of your troubles away with Banquet cook and bag foods. They come frozen. You put them in boiling water, and in 8 minutes, you've got yourself a lot of delicious sliced turkey with giblet gravy, or Salisbury steak, or chicken a la king, or a dozen other main dishes. You also got yourself a lot of extra household money, because Banquet cook and bag foods have always been a bargain. And in these bargain hunting days, you can see that more clearly.
Good evening. I'm Avery Schreiber.
And I'm Jack Burns, and this is That Was the Year That Was.
The beginning of 4 more years.
Now, first of all, how well do you know your old 1972? Well, here's the first question in our 1972 quiz. On January 26, 1972, somebody said, I don't want to go into the details of how it was done because we may want to do it again.
Now, was that said by A, Spiro Agnew, B, football coach Don Shula, C, Henry Kissinger, or D, Masters and Johnson? You have 5 seconds.
The correct answer is Henry Kissinger.
The imaginative answer is Masters and Johnson.
This man had a very big job. During most of 1972, he was Secretary of Commerce of the United States. He replaced Maurice Stans. His name is A, John Henderson, B, Philip Arnold, C, Peter Peterson, or D, David Reynolds. You have 5 seconds.
Take another 5 seconds. The correct answer to who was our Secretary of Commerce is, I don't know. Only one man really knows the answer to this question, and he was Secretary of Commerce Peter Peterson. That's right, isn't it?
Of course, the major event of 1972 was the re-election of President Nixon. Now, on election night, he spoke to the nation twice, and, well, because there is a football game scheduled for Inauguration Day, he has already taped his inauguration speech.
Really?
Oh, yes, really. We have it for you right now.
Mr. Chief Justice, honored guests, Maurice Stans, distinguished members of the new Do-Nothing Congress, Washington Redskins, my fellow Americans. This is a very special day, Inauguration Day, and in honor of this day, I have done something I never did during the entire campaign. I've left the White House. 4 years ago, I promised to bring us together, and sure enough, here we are. Now, the elections are over, and I want to say this about the 38% who didn't vote for me. I respect that. That was their right. If they thought what they did was best for America, I respect their right to do so. If they thought it was patriotic to vote against the President of the United States in a presidential election, perfectly all right. That's what democracy is all about. The right of a small, unrepresentative minority to vote against the good, honest, hard-working people of this nation, against their own government, and against the land of the free and the home of the brave. And I would be the last to criticize them for that, though we know who you are. And nevertheless, for the rest of you, I'd like to announce my new full employment program. I have said that Americans are like children. Give them responsibility and they'll pull themselves together. So, we're going to take the 4 million or so unemployed and give them all their own paper route. And I know they'll deliver. Concerning about the subject in relation to Phase 2, I have been asked to explain Phase 2. They say it's not perfectly clear, but I'm not going to explain it. Because I've run in my last election, and now I don't have to make anything perfectly clear. Even if it means my only being a two-term president. Now, in foreign affairs, as everyone knows, in 1972, I visited the Soviet Union and the People's Republic of China, formerly known as the Chinese Reds. I shall continue to seek peace in hostile areas of the world. I can now reveal that Mr. Kissinger has made arrangements, and sometime early in April, I will pay a visit to the People's Republic of Massachusetts. But while extending the hand of peace, we will not cease to do battle with the three isms that are the biggest threats to America as I see it: communism, fascism, and journalism. Now, these past years, I've divided my time between the San Clemente White House and the Key Biscayne White House and the Camp David White House and the other one, the one in Washington, the white one. I'd like to take this occasion to announce the opening of several new White Houses, including a great one at Walt Disney World, the Enchanted White House. Where there'll be all you can eat for $3.95. And now, as I look out over America, I see a vast nation full of still untapped resources and still untapped telephones. And looking further, I see a nation free of poverty, free of racial strife, free of fear, free of high military budgets, free of urban blight and of overcrowding. I see Switzerland. Now it's time to say goodbye. I'm going back to the White House now, and you won't be hearing from me for another 4 years. But I'll be in there somewhere, being president, and make no mistake about it.
Gee, what a nice day it was.
Morning, honey.
Toasted 6 English muffin halves at one time in our GE king-size toaster oven. 10:30 served biscuits to the girls. Noon, frozen dinner for me. Oh, after school, Susie made a lot of cupcakes. Dinner, well, meatloaf for 4 in our king-size toaster oven. And a midnight snacking for David.
Hi, honey.
Gee, it really was a nice day.
Give her GE's toaster oven, one of the homemakers GE makes to fit your lifestyle.
It fits ours.
Who do I see to join Vista?
Speaking.
I've also got a friend who's interested in the Peace Corps.
Speaking.
You know, there's a lot of action in that rock.
There's a lot of action in action, because action is the growing movement of volunteers of all ages and skills who want to help people help themselves.
We've got a winner. Don't crawl under a rock. Get into action.
You've been hearing a lot about antacids. One measure of an antacid is its power to neutralize excess stomach acid. We've run laboratory tests with these well-known antacid tablets. We followed the minimum dosage recommendations on each of the packages. These numbers indicate the volume of acid neutralized by each product. The higher the number, the stronger the antacid. Now you know the score. Try Bicidol.
Big Daddy Don Garlitz will be up against the finest field of professional drag racers ever assembled on Sunday, January 7th, the Olympia Grand Premiere at the new Irwindale Raceway.
He's great, Dad. Let's take him out.
Not with this cold, son. My sinuses are murder. I ache.
Reach for Dristan. Music instruction for adults and children is being offered in your community by the USC School of Music faculty. For information, phone 746-5252.
Despite the current gloomy news about the economy during 1972, there was at least one notable exception, the advertising industry, whose business exceeded $10 million in volume for the first time in history.
And advertising men, the guys who devise the commercials, really are a special breed. Indeed, right now, we'd like to pay tribute to one such advertising man who passed away in 1972. Ladies and gentlemen, epitaph for an advertising man.
Dearly beloved, there's a new, improved soul in heaven tonight. Because advertising man John Finley has gone on to a better world. By Pan Am, of course, which makes the going great. And so we are gathered at his box top, or a reasonably accurate facsimile thereof, to return the unused portion of John to his maker, to prove that he was good to the last drop. And boy, do we have a fall for him. He was a good man. He helped the little people, Peter Payne, the Pillsbury Doughboy, the Frito Bandito, the entire population of the Valley of the Jolly Green Giant. He bought time for 47 years, but at last he could not buy another day, for he got his hands on a Toyota and couldn't let go. 4 out of 5 doctors declared him dead. Now we must bury him, because it's not nice to fool Mother Nature. He was a good father. His children had 60% fewer cavities. A good husband. His wife was free from wash day woes and the heartbreak of psoriasis. And now he lies on this bier where famous ad man Milt Walker lay a short time ago. The beer that made Milt Walker famous. Thank you, English lovers. I could go on about John Finley, but you deserve a break today from McDonald's. And we must send him 6 feet under, slightly higher west of the Rockies. And on his grave we will place a piece of the rock, and on it inscribe these words: "Here lies John Finley, advertising man, lying once again, this time forever."
Taxi? Yep. It's a taxi cab, yeah. Here we go. Where you going to?
Oh, take me down to Times Square. Yeah, what do they call that? Crossroads of the world, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. It's a crossroads.
Yeah, I love it down there. I just came down with a few of the guys from the Home Office to see the old year out.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're all here. Yeah, that was some year, you 1972.
Yeah?
Oh, I love you, 72. Great year. El Grado, my friend. El Grado for me. Yeah.
Grado.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
Hey.
Should old acquaintance be forgot for the sake of old lang syne?
Hey. No singing in a cab. You see the signs? No singing.
Oh, yeah. You tell me that all the time. I always forget, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just what you call you rank sentimentalist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. You're rank.
Yeah, 1972 was a good year for me in the stock market, see?
Yeah?
The Dow Jones closed at 1,000. That's what we call your bull market, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Bull.
Yeah. I made a few good investments, too.
Oh, yeah? Why didn't you invest in a hearing aid?
Why? Did you get a tip on that?
Forget it.
I don't mind telling you, my friend, I made a few bucks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you people ain't the only kind of people that can make a few bucks, you know what I mean? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay,
I didn't have anything to invest.
Why's that?
Nixon froze my wages.
Well, he froze everyone's wages. What's that mean?
Well, he must have melted their minds. They voted for him.
Hey, listen, my friend, don't you say nothing about the president. I tell you, my friend, that's the trouble with you people. You forget he's one of the most powerful men in this country.
Yeah?
Yeah. You forget what he did during the past year. He went to Russia, went to Red China. That took courage.
Yeah, when he visits Newark, let me know. That's courage.
Yeah, I got you pegged. Oh, you're one of them bleeding heart liberals who can't believe his man lost, McGovern, huh?
Yeah, well, I was a rarity in this city. I organized Democrats for McGovern. There was about 6 of us here.
Well, that figures. That don't surprise me, you being what you are. That don't
What does
surprise
that mean, me being what I are? What is that?
Well, I'm not casting any aspersions, but if I'm not mistaken, you're the Judaic-Hebraic persuasion, ain't you?
What, you mean I'm a Jew?
Oh, hey, look, I'm not one for name-calling.
Jew is not a derogatory name, you know? You're really a racist. You make Archie Bunker sound like a pinko.
Oh, yeah? Who's to say he's not? The point I'm making, my friend. It's a known fact that if you're Jewish, then you're a Democrat. That's known.
Yeah, where does it say that in the Torah, thou shalt be a Democrat? What? And he took the people out of the prom into the... What, he made him go into the Democratic Party when he got out of the desert there?
Well, you name me one Jewish politician that's a Republican.
Jacob Javits.
That's funny. He don't look Republican. The fact is, my friend, the American people made the right choice in 72.
Oh, yeah?
Not only for the presidency, but for a lot of other little things they were voting on, too, like out in California.
Yeah?
They voted to reestablish the death penalty.
What for? The Supreme Court already ruled that it's unconstitutional.
I
think they ruled that California was unconstitutional.
Oh, yeah? But I'm telling you, my friend, I agree with that rule. I agree with it. I'm telling you right now. If people kill someone, you're going to kill them. Burn them, hang them, shoot them, put them in a chair, but get rid of them. Kill them, kill them. Kill them all. That's what I say. Kill them. I mean it. Kill them.
Well, a lot of people aren't going to go along with you on that,
Well, look, live and let live, you know? Besides, I don't want to argue with you. You seem like a nice guy. You can't help what you are. That's an accident of birth, you know.
What are you waiting for? Smite him?
Yeah. I'll tell you, though, 72, though, it had a lot of heartbreaks for me in one way.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, my kid. You think you know a kid, and then you realize you don't know him at all. These kids today, they got no morals, they got no beliefs, they're running around, they don't wear any bras.
Yeah, my kid, he goes out, he never wears a bra.
Yeah, I know. My kid, he broke my heart.
Yeah?
Ran away to Canada last winter just before he got called up.
Oh, didn't want to go to Vietnam, huh?
Makes you sick. I try to raise him the right way, try to teach him right from wrong, taught him to respect his neighbors, send him to a Catholic college.
Yeah.
Then he turns around and tells me he doesn't want to kill anyone.
Well?
Where did I go wrong?
Well, maybe you taught him more than you know.
Look, I said, look, that's your decision. But I said, if you don't want to kill anyone, that's something you're going to have to live with the rest of your life. All I know is that during the Korean War, my friend, I went.
Yeah? Where'd you go?
Fort Benning, Georgia. It got very hot there in the summer, too.
Sounds rough.
It was, my friend.
Yeah, well, here you are, buddy. That's a buck 80.
We're here.
You're here.
We're here.
No, we're over there somewhere. What?
Hey, look, I got a couple of seconds here. Before I get out, let me tell you my favorite joke of 72, all right?
All right.
You're going to get a boot out of this. You're going to boot out of this. You're going to boot out of this.
All right, take it easy.
All right, now, it's about these two colored guys, right?
Yeah.
Now, these two colored...
Wait a minute. It means about these two colored guys, right? You're always talking about colored guys. Why don't you tell a joke that's not about two colored guys or two Jewish guys, Make it about 2 Irish guys.
All right, don't get excited, my friend. It could be about 2 Irish guys.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay, these 2 Irish guys are walking down the street in Harlem. One of them says, hey, Rascals, how come the watermelon ain't coming up the way?
True love. Can it stay fresh and happy? It can if you understand it. Read about the chemistry of love in Man and Woman, a new guide in plain words and clear pictures to the things many people worry about but find difficult to discuss. Week by week, Man and Woman builds into an encyclopedia of adult relationships. It can tell you things you may never have learned anywhere else.
Walter Matthau is Pete, and Carol Burnett is Tilly in Pete and Tilly.
Get yourself a new song or a new girl.
Don't wear a girdle. I mean, give the rear bumpers a chance.
The honeymoon's over. It's time to get married.
Walter Matthau, Carol Burnett in Pete and Tilly, rated PG.
Now showing ABC Entertainment Center in Century City, matinees on weekends.
He's great, Dad. Let's take him out.
Not with this cold, son. My sinuses are murder. I ache.
Reach for Dristan tablets. Dristan works on aches and fever and on the critical sinus areas where cold's infection can breed when they fill with congestion. Dristan opens stuffy sinuses, helps drain congestion fast.
He's having fun.
You know, so am I.
Dristan tablets, strong medicine for sinus cold's miseries.
It's more than just a dinner. It's a picnic in the park. It's a lunch and it's a party. It's a great snack after dark. Oh, so take a long Kentucky Fried Chicken. See the Colonel, yes you should. America loves what the Colonel cooks. Anytime, any place, it's finger-licking good.
That was the year that was. We'll continue following station identification.
Watch the season's outstanding football stars live in the Hula Bowl, Saturday.
Throughout our history, the lip-smacking flavor of chocolate has satisfied more American sweet tooths than any other treat. But while we've been madly munching our chocolatey treats, our dogs have watched and waited for their chance. It's here, in Heart's Kisses, the chocolate-flavored treat made especially for dogs. Now your dog can join the rest of our population in chocolate-flavored ecstasy. Heart's Kisses, the sweet tooth of the American dog is satisfied.
You don't know you're headed for it. It comes completely out of the blue. And then suddenly, you're close up. That's why you always need clear close-up toothpaste. With 2 whiteners to make your teeth their whitest. And a real mouthwash to make your breath close-up fresh. Close-up toothpaste. For the whitest teeth, the freshest breath. Because you never know when you're going to be close up.
If yours goes over and mine goes under, then we can...
Relive history on the Queen Mary, board free for shops, restaurants, and the fun of it. Open daily till midnight, end of the Long Beach Freeway. Jose Ferrer stars tomorrow night at 6:30.
Oh, Sonny, after all these years, I find out you really love me. You made me put on the safety belt. Oh. Now, if you could only get a job.
You know, Edwin, if you loved me, you'd show me. Oh, Edwin.
Knee pad, shoulder pad, helmet. Good.
Safety belt?
Would you wear my safety belt?
Oh, Henry.
Safety belts. When you think about it, it's a nice way to say I love you. Brought to you by the National Safety Council.
Monday, January 8th. Jack Parr returns to late-night television. Jack Parr at his lively, provocative, unpredictable best. Jack is back with old friends, new faces, and very special guests on ABC's Wide World of Entertainment.
That's late night, Monday night on ABC.
That Was the Year That Was presents its Man of the Year. In 1972, a year in which diplomatic relations with China, Russia, and North Vietnam dominated the news, the Man of the Year, without question, was the man whose firm hand formed our foreign policy. None other than that world traveler, peacemaker, diplomat, negotiator, foreign policy wizard, and swinger, Secretary of State William P. Rogers. To the public, he is William P. Rogers. But to his aides in the State Department, he is just plain Will Rogers. Because all he knows is what he reads in the papers. Keeping Bill Rogers uninformed is a security measure, part of the Nixon game plan. If Bill Rogers knows nothing, the plan goes, he can reveal nothing to the common enemy, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And Man of the Year, Bill Rogers says, can do. Time and again, he climbs Capitol Hill to tell Congress everything he knows about foreign policy. 2 minutes later, he's back at the State Department. In March, the Nixon team makes its historic journey to China. When Air Force One takes to the air, Jud Rogers is there on Air Force Two. So we salute 1972's Man of the Year, William P. Rogers, of whom, on December 17th, 1972, President Richard M. Nixon said,
where's, what's his name?
In Washington, D.C., crime in the streets is rapidly disappearing because everyone is off the streets and in the Shoreham Hotel listening to Mark Russell.
What do you remember about 1972? Well, there was the president's famous trip to China. The president was in China. The vice president was playing golf with Frank Sinatra. Yes, Spiro has come a long way from president of the Baltimore PTA to one of the gang at Jilly's. Martha Mitchell was running the country, and we wondered why the churches were full. I won't say that people were nervous at the time, but Dial-A-Prayer almost became a subsidiary of IT&T. Now, the ITT thing was just a game, that's all. Sure, nothing but a game. The Republicans said to the Democrats, I'll see your Bobby Baker, raise you one Kleindienst. It was concerned with the confirmation of Richard Kleindienst as Attorney General. You remember, we went about 4 months in this country with no Attorney General at all. I don't know about you, but I felt safer. No review of 1972 would be complete without a mention of the Watergate bugging caper. And we'll mention Watergate for a moment because I don't think anybody else will from here on out. George McGovern knew something was asunder the day he was having breakfast at home, and then he picked up a grapefruit and he got a dial tone. They asked Mrs. McGovern if she knew anything about it. She said, well, all I know is every night before I go to sleep, I look under the bed and say goodnight to B.B. Rebozo. B.B. Rebozo, confidant of the president, a sort of a Cuban Kissinger. It began when Democratic Chairman Larry O'Brien was all alone in his office in the Watergate building in Washington, and he sneezed, and the wall answered, God bless you. The very next morning, Larry O'Brien was in his own home, shaving in the bathroom. He opened up the medicine cabinet, and there on the other side was Richard Kleindienst saying, hi, guy, can I borrow the right guard? Well, now that the president is re-elected, the talk in Washington now is who will leave and who will stay, because there's talk about trimming the fat of the government. And some of the main characters in the White House are rumored to perhaps be leaving. Some of the big ones, like Haldeman, und Ehrlichman, und Ziegler, und Klein. And even maybe the president's private secretary herself, her name, by the way, is Rosemary Wood. And America is singing... Are you leaving your government job? cinnamon, Ziegler, rosemary, and wine.
We've been hearing some of the good things about 1972 and some of the bad things. Well, here with another viewpoint is William F. Buckley, Jr.
Looking back on the big events of any year, you can usually rule out the holidays for a start. Nothing much of it seems to happen over a holiday, any holiday. It is as if nature conspired with the stillness of public affairs so as not to get in their way. Sometimes it doesn't work. Indeed, there are nefarious spirits who take advantage of our preoccupation with the holidays. They used to say in England a generation ago that Neville Chamberlain took his weekends in the country while Adolf Hitler took his countries in the weekend. And of course, the rules do not apply in Cuba. They are puzzling over how to eliminate the Christmas slowdown in harvesting the winter sugar crop. Fidel Castro has figured it out. He is eliminating Christmas. From now on, Christmas will be in midsummer after the summer harvest. Castro tends to go in for halfway measures. Why not declare that the month of August will henceforth be called December? But what about the rest of 1972? There was, of course, Vietnam. In the spring, the North Vietnamese launched a great offensive. There have not been as many tanks mobilized against a small country since Hitler marched into the lowlands. We had apparently no intimation of the offensive, even as 10 years ago, we had no intimation of the sudden appearance of the Berlin Wall, though one would have thought that such a standby accumulation of bricks and mortar would not have escaped even the notice of the CIA. A dozen years ago, someone remarked that the weekend's attempted assassination of Sukarno in Indonesia had all the earmarks of a CIA operation. Everyone in the room was killed except Sukarno. Having survived the surprise, President Nixon ordered the blockading of Haiphong Harbor, and it was quite popularly supposed that this measure would lead to a cancellation of the Moscow visit, the indefinite postponement of the SALT talks, or the appearance in Indochina of Chinese troops, and at least a little world war. The critics of Mr. Nixon were gravely disappointed, A, that international diplomacy continued on its charted course, and B, that the North Vietnamese offensive was stopped. It would have been so much easier if the North Vietnamese had won. If the North Vietnamese continue to fail in their aggressions against the South, they may very well wake up one day and find that they have lost the support of American liberals. On the domestic front, it was, of course, a presidential election year. George McGovern was really the man of the year. It was a great surprise that he won the Democratic nomination, but no one anticipated that he would fight his way into the pages of American history as principal sponsor of the greatest upset in political history. Richard Nixon carrying every state of the Union except Massachusetts. Nobody could have accomplished that except George McGovern. And already the John Birch Society has figured it out. Nixon, who of course is the tool of the communists, has tools of his own. It was he who contrived McGovern's nomination. Next time around, McGovern isn't going to play so easy to get for the Republicans. His price will be much higher. He is, after all, a proven performer. The colleges were quieter and the atmosphere generally ironic. True, the reactionaries at Yale University did not permit General Westmoreland to speak, but they exhibited moderation, after all. They might have spirited him away, shipped him to North Vietnam, an overdue return for all those secret documents we have snitched from them. Yale is slowing down. And yes, there was the 55th annual drought in the Soviet Union since the Bolshevik Revolution. It brought on great food shortages, except in the little bits and pieces of Russia where the state permits the people to grow their own food. There, the sun and rain were abundant. The Soviet Union will try the guilty parties, but not in time to prevent the 56th annual drought, which is scheduled to take place next year. That's what the Marxists call dialectical certitude.
Behold the man suffering the aches and pains of life. Headache, sinus pain, toothache, muscle ache, minor pain of arthritis. For hours of relief from these pains, Excedrin. With more pain relievers, more total strength than any other leading tablet. Excedrin, the extra strength pain reliever.
Can a newly married couple live in the same neighborhood with their ex-mates?
God bless you, pal. Forget me off the $200 a week alimony hook.
You're much prettier than he described you. Thank you. You're much younger.
Oh, boy.
Didn't you forget something?
Larry Hagman and Diane Baker star in Here We Go Again.
What?
This is our wedding night.
Oh, my.
Here We Go Again premieres January 20th.
Same game, 5-card stud. When I deal, I like to start with all 52 cards.
A game of chance triggers a drama of death and mystery.
Somebody's out to kill every man at that party.
Dean Martin, Robert Mitchum, Inger Stevens, Roddy McDowell. 5-card stud.
Monday night at 9, 8 o'clock Central Time.
Grace is a widow. Herbert is a gravedigger. Grace and Herbert are seeing each other.
You know what they say? The older the bottle, the sweeter the wine.
Oh, they do. Well, you better keep your cork in.
You have noticed that little devilish thing I have in my eye, huh?
Well, at your age, what you got is more than you'll need.
Shirley Booth returns to TV with J. Pat O'Malley, A Touch of Grace.
Premieres Saturday, January 20th.
1972 was the year when television came to grips with the problem of homosexuality. It was discussed candidly and maturely in a fine ABC movie of the week called That Certain Summer. There are still many people, however, who cannot or will not face the problem when it exists in their own family. In this scene, a father from a small town in New England, played by Jack Burns, is about to pay a visit to his son, played by Avery Schreiber, who is living in a small apartment in Greenwich Village. We call the scene The Reunion.
Well, Alan, I'm glad you finally got here. He's going to get here any minute, and you're not going to be able... Hi, Dad.
Warren, I guess you were waiting for someone.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, well, come on in.
It's,
Yes, just sit down. Just anywhere.
sit right here.
That's good.
Well, this is a real nice place you got here, Warren.
Thank you, Dad.
I can't say as I can say the same for the neighborhood.
Oh?
There's a lot of he-she's out there.
He-she's?
You know what I mean, sissies.
Oh, I guess I never noticed them, you know.
Well, they're out there.
Yeah, sure they are.
Well, just like old times. Yeah, I had a good drive up. I left Blinder about 6:30 this morning. I took Main Street to Elm, Elm to Cedar, Cedar to Route 11, and 11 over to Interstate 45. You know, 11 butts right into 45
Oh, yeah,
there.
it butts right into it.
Well, the reason I went that way is I wanted to see the new bridge. I hadn't had a chance to see it before, so I...
How was it?
Well, I went right over it, so...
So it works.
Yeah, it works real good. Yeah, I make good mileage, too. I wrote it down here in the back of the match book cover.
Good. I
knew
really
you'd
wanted to know it.
when I got there. I got 12.6 miles per gallon.
Oh, sounds great, Pa.
Yeah, of course, I burned 3 quarts of oil.
Well, it sounds like she needs a ring job.
Well, she's a burner.
Needs a ring job.
She's a burner.
Needs a ring job,
I said
Pa.
she's a burner, Warren. Some cars are burners, some ain't. Cars are burner.
Yeah.
And then I made 3 stops, gas and oil. And convenience, I'm still having a little trouble there with the kidney. And I stopped at the restaurant, had myself a BLT on toast. I was going to have a tuna fish, decided not to. Didn't have it. Yeah. And I got up, paid the check, went outside, got back in the car, and came on in. Figure if I make the same amount of time going back home as I did coming in, I ought to be home before dark. Leastwise, I want to because of your mother.
Why? Something wrong with Mom?
Well, it's,
Is she okay?
Well, it's,
Well, you tell me, what is it?
Nothing serious. It's just that your mother thinks the birds are after her.
The birds? I mean, has she seen a doctor?
Well, yeah, but there's no need to go to that expense, Warren. He'll just tell me she has a mental problem. There comes a time in a woman's life when she thinks the birds are after her. Your mother's reached that time, that's all. They...
This thing would be to get a specialist to look at her.
Warren, please, if you don't mind, let's not talk about your mother. Let's talk about something pleasant. Your Aunt Martha died.
Yeah, I know. I got your letter. I was very upset by it. I know I was her favorite nephew. I've been thinking that maybe if I spent a little more time with her, things might have been a little different.
I doubt that. She was hit by a truck. I'm still working down at the John Deere factory, Warren. Yeah, going into my 18th year in the Thresher division down there.
Yeah.
Haven't missed a day because of sickness. Of course, I was out 3 years on the strike, but that don't count against sick time. Yeah, you'll never guess who I saw at the Grange Dance and Talent Show last week.
No,
Irene Hogelmeyer. You remember Irene Hogelmeyer?
No,
You remember Irene? Sure you do, Irene Hogelmeyer.
Oh, Hogelmeyer.
Yeah. Yes, she's doing real well now. Her face is cleared up. She looks real good now, Warren. And she ain't got married. Maybe she's waiting for that certain someone we know to come back home.
Oh, well, Dad, I wouldn't count on it, no. No, but say hello to her for me if you see her.
Yeah, well, I don't know when I'll see her again. They moved out by Miller's Pond. I don't get out there.
No, it's not important, Dad. Really, I asked you to come down here because it's something...
Warren, are you living here alone? The rent here must be murder.
Well, no, I'm not, Dad, really, and that's what it's about. You see, I have a roommate. His name is Andy. Well, really, his name is Andrew, but he prefers for me to call him Andy. I wish he was here. I wanted you two to meet.
Well, I don't recall any Andy. Did you play football with him in college? Of course, that was a long time ago, but I don't...
Andy? No, Andy never played football. He's too small. I guess he's what you would call delicate.
Delicate? You mean sickly?
No, delicate. Oh, would you like some cookies, Dad? Some cookies and some lemonade? Andy made it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I never pass up a free meal. That tuna fish sandwich wasn't much, I'll tell you.
Yeah, Dad. He's really a good cook for a man, isn't he? He's been taking lessons.
Well, not half bad.
Oh, he'll be glad you like him. He loves to cook. You know, last night he was up and he made a whole tray of brownies, and he left them in the oven too long, and they burnt. And I was up all night long cleaning the damn pan. And then this morning we had a big fight about it, and he left, and... Well, I guess that was our first big argument.
Well, it ain't easy living with another man. I don't know. I lived with 30 of them in the barracks in the Army. We used to fight all the time.
Well, no, it's not exactly the same. You see, Andy...
Warren.
Yeah.
Whose picture is that up there on the mantelpiece?
Oh, with the bikini? That's Andy.
He's a real good-looking boy.
Well, thank you. Well, Dad, you see, what I wanted to talk to you about was Andy and me. You see, what I want to tell you was, well, we're... Andy and I, we want to open a business. You see, we want to open a men's boutique down the street, and, well, you see, Andy wants to get married. And I want to get married, too. And the problem is that...
Oh, and the problem is you're wondering if you should bring your wives into the business. Well, now, I don't know if that's such a good idea. You know, I brought your mother in the hardware store when I had her years back. We argued. And by the way, about your mother, Warren, even with a mental problem, would you write her at least once in a while? She Well, you know, with the way her mind is, she keeps your room just the way it always was. She changes your sheets once a week, and then she dusts off your toys and your bookcase, and then she closes the door, turns out the light, and pretends you're dead.
Well, really, I'm sorry about Mom, but you see, the problem I was talking about is that Andy and I want to marry each other. Now, if you just see... You all right, Pa? Pa, are you okay? Are you all right? Are you okay? Are you all right, Dad? Dad?
Well, that, time flies, don't it, Warren? I'd better be getting home. As I say, your mother ain't well, and the traffic will be real heavy this time of night.
You haven't been listening to a word I've been saying.
And, she hasn't been feeling well at all.
Do you think I just asked you down here for no reason?
Better get up there.
For the first time in my life, I wanted to share something with you. For the first time, I had something to say to you tonight. I know who I am for the first time.
Warren, you shut up! If there's ever anything bothering you, and you need someone to talk to, well, you know where we are.
The next time they ask you, and they're sure to ask you, don't answer with some silly joke. Just stand up and face them and quickly erase them. Your mind very much if they smoke. They'll try you politely, so sweetly and brightly. It happens with all kinds of folk. Don't beat or retreat, dear. Stand up on your feet, dear, and mind very much if they smoke. For you kick the habit, a mighty tough habit. Goodbye to the cough and the choke. Make sure you don't blow it, and make sure they know it. You mind very much if they smoke. Yeah, yeah, you mind very much if they smoke. Ooh, mind very much if they smoke. Yeah, yeah, don't smoke.
He's got the whole world in his hands. She's got the whole wide world in her hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. They got the whole world in their hands.
A book is a new world for a kid. It's fun. It expands their horizons. But some kids don't have any books. They go without reading about new things and faraway places and real-life heroes they could try to be like if they had a chance. The National RIF program, Reading is Fundamental, brings these boys and girls all kinds of books for keeps. If America is to grow up thinking reading is fundamental, you can help. Write to RIF, Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C., 20560.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
One really big story of 1972, even bigger than George Hamilton's wedding, was, of course, the election.
It all started in Washington, D.C. when the president faced his 7th crisis.
John, Maurice, this is a historic moment. The first time in history, a 35th president of the United States must decide whether to run for a second term. What are my options?
Well, you could take the football offer.
Yes, I've been offered a job as assistant line coach at Whittier College. Oh, gosh, that is tempting.
Or you could run for president again.
It's a hard decision, gentlemen. Coaching the Chipmunks or being president. Gentlemen, I'll run.
So on to the Democratic Convention at Miami Beach. Our reporter, Mark Russell.
Well, you had issues discussed this year that wouldn't have been dreamed of in years gone by. For example, for the first time in the history of American political conventions, abortion was included in the platforms of both parties. And during the pro-abortion speeches, many Americans all over the country watching on television for the first time had an opportunity to hear, during these pro-abortion speeches, the new language of the new politics They heard expressions like reproductive freedom and difficult moral choices, which is really a vague way of saying uterus utopia and fallopian power. Yes, they had buttons and bumper stickers that said that. Well, as you know, abortion was defeated, much to the happiness of Father Dristan. Father Dristan, congressperson from Massachusetts, Catholic priest and delegate to the convention. It came time for Massachusetts' vote on this issue. Father Dristan from the convention floor, stepping up to the microphone saying, Mr. Chairman, Massachusetts cast 14 votes no. Amen. You can almost smell the incense burning, for heaven's sake. In fact, you could, but it was coming from the California delegation for another reason.
And so it was McGovern for president as the Republicans met in Miami Beach to pick their team. Once the president had been renominated, he had once got the support of a number of major show business figures, including Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, Jack Benny, George Jessel, and the late Al Jolson. It's a group known as Youth for Nixon.
And he also got the enthusiastic support of Sammy Davis Jr. as hearts warmed all over America to see an advocate of civil rights become once again a credit to his race.
Meanwhile, back with the Democrats, the action had switched to the LBJ Ranch in Texas, where McGovern and Shriver were seeking an endorsement.
There, sitting on the front porch of the LBJ Ranch, rocking back and forth, is Lyndon and Lady Bird. Lady Bird speaks. Lyndon, when in the world are you going to get a haircut? Now you hush up, woman, go get me a Moscow mule. After that, I want you to get me a drink. Lyndon! Somebody coming up the road. Who is it? I don't know, Lady Bird. Better get the shotgun. It might be Bobby Baker. I knew we'd show his face around here one of these days. Who is it, Lyndon? I don't know, Lady Bird. Can't quite make him out. I really don't know. Wow, it's Sergeant Shriver. Who's that with him, honey? I don't know, but he looks real earnest. Only one I know looks that earnest is that pointy-headed, nervous Nellie Tommy Pinko McGovern. That's him, all right. Coming on down here, kiss my foot, wanting an endorsement. Meanwhile, down the other end of the road, here come the two guys up toward the ranch house. George! Yes, Sarge? We almost there? Yes, Sarge, there any minute now. Almost up the ranch house. Sarge! What? Look! What? His hair! We're in, baby! And so it came to pass that Lyndon took George and Sergeant down to the banks of the river. And there they were baptized in the waters of the Pedernales, the two of them standing there wringing wet. Lyndon, putting a fatherly hand on George's shoulder, looked at him and said, all right, you got my endorsement. You get the hell off my land, you hear?
The president launched a non-stop campaign. He stopped nowhere, but McGovern, well, he stayed in sight. He campaigned in the big industrial states. And the response in Ohio was like the response everywhere else.
Ohio passes.
And as Election Day approached, America faced what Richard Nixon called the choice of the century, and a tidal wave of apathy swept the nation.
It's a tough choice. It's a question of choosing between someone you don't like and someone you can't stand.
Then on November 7th, 63 million Americans stayed home and chose not to make the choice of the century. And on election night, victorious Richard Nixon addressed the nation.
And not one day less.
McGovern also had a victory speech ready and prepared, which America has never heard until now.
Fellow Democrats, fellow Chicanos, Vice President-elect Shriver, fellow Indians, fellow blacks, and ladies and gentlemen. I am so happy to look around this room tonight to see so many fine people smiling and not eating lettuce. Some of you are not eating tomatoes, too. Keep up the good work. I just received a wire from President Nixon. Congratulations. I want to assure you that Richard Nixon is behind George McGovern 1,000%. And to George Gallup and Lewis Harris, I'd like to say, kiss my donkey. Now, to win, we had to overcome one great obstacle, my campaign. Now, just before the election, the polls had me 38 to 62. But we won thanks to that big, big absentee vote from Toronto, Canada. Now, as president, I will do all the things I promised during the campaign. I will drastically cut the military budget without affecting our defense strength. I will give $1,000 to every man, woman, and child in the United States without raising taxes. And I will withdraw our troops from all over the world without being an isolationist. And it don't rain in Indianapolis in the summertime.